Welcome to my lecture online. To better understand the Gaussian surface concept, that's the word I was looking for, concept, it's better to look at various ways of applying it, and then maybe it'll make more sense. Notice that in each case we always will start with using the equation that the strength of the electric field at the point that we're interested times the surface area of the Gaussian surface through which the electric field goes or emanates is equal to the charge inside that Gaussian surface divided by epsilon sub naught, which is the permittivity of free space. So we have 6 examples. We have a point charge, we have the line charge, which we covered in the previous video, so you can see it in context. We have a volume charge in a cylindrical distribution, we have a volume charge in a spherical distribution, we have a surface charge density, and then we have a slab with charge throughout. In each case, we're trying to find the electric field either outside, away from the charge distribution, or somewhere inside the charge distribution that we have in these 2 examples. So when we have a point charge, again we start with E times A equals Q inside divided by epsilon sub naught. But if we have just a point charge, the Gaussian surface will be a spherical encapsulation of the charge such that the side of the Gaussian surface goes right to the point of interest. And so we have the electric field strength times the area of the sphere, which is 4 pi r squared, r being the distance away from the charge, is equal to Q sub naught divided by epsilon sub naught. And then if you solve for that, you end up with that E is equal to KQ over r squared. So that's what this becomes if you then solve for the electric field. But that's not important, just the setup that's most important. You get to this point, this is just simple algebra to get to that point. For the line charge, again, we're going to encapsulate the line charge by a Gaussian surface where the surface goes right to the point of interest. We want to find the electric field. The surface area through which the electric field goes is only through the side of the cylinder is going to be 2 pi r, which is the circumference of the Gaussian cylinder times the length, and that equals the Q inside, which is the linear charge density times the length divided by epsilon sub naught. L cancels out. You can simplify for the electric field. What if we have a cylindrical distribution of charge where the charge is all throughout the cylinder and we want to know the electric field some distance r away from the axis of the cylinder? Okay, notice that the cylinder radius is a, but we only want to know it at some distance r inside the cylinder. Again, E times A equals Q inside over epsilon sub naught. In this case, the Gaussian surface, just like it's there, it's a cylindrical shape. It's going to be 2 pi r, r being the radius there, from the center of from the axis of the cylinder with charge to the point where we want to know the electric field, times L, the length of the Gaussian surface, which is equal to the charge inside. Now we have the volume charge density, rho. We're going to multiply times the surface area of the side, pi r squared, times the length, and that's going to be the volume that contains the charge inside the Gaussian surface. And of course, then you simply solve for E to get the electric field. If we have a spherical charge distribution, but we want to know the electric field somewhere inside that spherical distribution, then what we need to do is draw a Gaussian surface so that the side of the Gaussian surface is right where we want to know the strength of the electric field. E times A is Q inside over epsilon sub naught. In this case, the area of the Gaussian surface, it's the area of a sphere, which is 4 pi r squared, r being the radius of that Gaussian sphere. And then the charge inside is going to be the volume charge density times the volume of that. That would be 4/3 pi r cubed divided by epsilon sub naught. What if we have a slab of charge, an infinite slab of charge? Well, the charge density is sigma, and so E times A equals Q inside over epsilon sub naught. It doesn't matter what the shape of the Gaussian surface is. It can be like a cylindrical shape, or it can be a rectangular box. It really doesn't matter because no electric field goes out the side, only through the edge. And in this case, we only expect the electric field to go up, none of it to go down. In that case, we have E times the area. If we draw it as a cylindrical shape, the edge of that would be pi r squared. That equals the volume, or no, the amount of charge inside that Gaussian surface. So it would be the surface charge density times the area, that which is pi r squared, divided by epsilon sub naught. Notice the pi r squared cancels on both sides, and you end up with the electric field being the surface charge density divided by epsilon sub naught. And then what if we have a slab of charge? And let me move over here so you can see it better. So we have a slab of charge that has charge throughout. Now notice that the bottom half of the charge will have electric field going in this direction. The top half of the slab there with the charge there will cause electric field to go in the other direction. And if we want to know the electric field, let's say in this direction, doesn't matter, it could be down or up, away from that slab right here, we draw some Gaussian surface through the cylinder. We only care about this portion of the Gaussian surface because that's where the electric field goes through at some distance r away from the slab. And so we go E times A equals Q inside divided by epsilon sub naught. The area, which is going to be the area here of the end of that cylinder, is going to be pi r squared. And then the charge inside the Gaussian surface. Now notice the Gaussian surface only goes down to the halfway point. No Gaussian surface below the halfway point, which means we only care about the charge in that portion of the Gaussian surface. So it's going to be the volume charge density times the area, which is pi r squared, it's the same pi r squared that cancels out, times the thickness of the half a slab, which is half d, which is d over 2. And so then we get the electric field strength away from that presumably very large infinite slab is going to be volume charge density times the thickness of the slab divided by 2 divided by epsilon sub naught. So hopefully these examples will then show you how to apply the Gaussian surface in various ways. Those are pretty well most of the ways in which it can be done. There's not a lot more you can do. For example, you can go outside this surface, and then of course you have all the charge encapsulated in this volume, but then you have the distance r here, which will make for a much bigger Gaussian surface, and then of course this r will no longer match. So you have different r's there. But at least this hopefully will give you some good feel of how to apply Gauss's law and how to draw the Gaussian surfaces. Let me get out of the way so you can see everything.